welcome to another sports car story. And you'll find me in a Bentley Supersports. Now, why am I driving a Bentley Supersports? I want to make the case for why I think, for about the £35,000, say $60,000 or $55,000, something like that, why I think this is the best GT touring car you can buy for that sort of price point. I think it's a bargain. Let me go through it. The first thing that's an obvious one is that this car is an incredible performance car. 2010, I think 2009 Bentley launched this. It was the sort of swan song of the early Bentley GTs. They'd already brought out the speed, so there was already a fast version, but this is the sporty version. Bear in mind, this is a sports car story, so it's got to be a sports car, and this is, you know, a proper sports car. 620 horsepower, beautiful tight chassis. I mean, I don't have to show you the performance. There's plenty of people on YouTube blasting around with it, but it's really fast in an effortless kind of way. You see, the way I look at it, if you're doing a grand tour, you know, if you watch that YouTube video of me and my wife going through Spain in a 355, 355 was great, but it was kind of like camping. The luggage space is limited. When it rained, it leaked on my wife's feet. Didn't bother me much because it didn't leak on my feet, but you know what I'm getting at. It's hard. You get rewarded when you're coming off a mountain and there's beautiful switchbacks. But if you want luxury on your grand tour, then you've got a performance car here that is ultimate luxury, but also it's a fantastic engine and brilliant handling, massive carbon brakes. You really haven't got any issues with calling this an ultimate sports car, but it's more than a sports car, and this is what a GT car should be. It should be an effortless cruiser. Even though they tighten the suspension up, it still rides beautifully compliantly. I mean, that's quite a big bump I've just went over there, and it really just handled it with aplomb. It's beautiful chassis. It really is very fluid for such a heavy car. It doesn't feel it. And the other thing that this car has got on its side is that on your grand tour that could be up to a month, or at least a few weeks driving around Europe, or say in North America, driving around the Rockies or into Canada, wherever you're going, you want something that's got space and practicality. I mean, this has got a huge boot. You know, you come across a nice antique shop and you think, oh, the table's nice. As long as you get the legs off, you can get it in the boot. This has got a massive boot, so you've got that space for all your luggage. You've got a back seat, or if you've got a 2+0, you've got a huge bench on the back there for extra luggage. But the boot itself is huge. It's effortless, and that's part of the real appeal of this car, is the effortless way that you're going to be able to do the miles. Now, I will say, and I've got a few caveats with the car, I would not use this as a daily driver. It's a waste. It's a waste of this car to be driving to work in the rain in it. It uses too much fuel. You won't feel the specialness of it driving to work. This car is something that I think you keep in your nice garage for special occasions, going out to a nice restaurant or to a beautiful Cotswold hotel. Should we take the Bentley? I think we should. It's that kind of car. But as a GT car, let's just look. I don't want you to see the speedo really, because you don't even have to rev it. The torque wave is immense. I love this car, but it really needs to be charging across Europe. It's what it was built for. Bear in mind, this was a £160,000 car when it was new, and it hasn't deteriorated, so it feels as tight and as special as the day this was new. And that's the sort of engineering quality of these Bentleys. They're beautifully resolved, and especially this Supersport. It drives so tightly and precise, and just feels special. And that's the most important reason why I think this is the GT car for you for £35,000. It's special inside. It's got, the quality is off the scale, and you feel it in everything you touch. The way the vents move, to the little wheel on the stereo that's got aluminium knurled, like my watch really. Very similar. It's so tactile, and that's part of your Grand Tour is the experience of the car. I want you to create memories out there, and yes, you can get memories in any car going across Europe, but there's something very special about driving across Europe in any Bentley. But a Bentley Supersports, you're going to be able to come off a mountain and have a go at it like a proper sports car. Have a real go at it, and the brakes won't fade. The chassis control is tight. It's sending far more power to the rear than a standard GT, so it doesn't feel so nose heavy. I've had a few of these Mark 1 Bentley GTs over the years, and they are quite nose heavy because the engine's so far forward, but they really worked hard to get this feeling, the chassis feeling, that it's slightly happier to step the back out, not even step it out, but just feel more neutral. I think that's what it's about. It's the neutrality of it. Very difficult to get that right, and it's astounding that they put so much effort into a car that was basically, the Mark II was coming out very shortly after this was launched. I don't think you can hear that on YouTube, but the engine's got a really deep, menacing, lovely noise, but on a cruise it just goes away. Good reason why I think this is the car for you, for your Grand Tour, is your partner, who might not be so driver oriented, say, can jump in and drive it very easily. It shrinks around you. As I said, I've had a couple of these in the past, and my wife would do a school run, and we had the Flying Spur, which is much bigger, and she didn't find it a problem at all. It really is a very easy car to drive. It, for such a powerful car, to be able to handle its performance so well is amazing. It's a brilliant sound system, so if you can interface to it, to the speaker system, you're going to have great music, which you need on your long run. You need your Bruce Springsteen or your ZZ Top or whatever you are driving along to. It's got to be done, isn't it? Do you know, I would argue that, say you've got 60,000 to spend, I'd argue that you're probably better off spending 35 on this and putting the rest in an account for the holidays. There's too many of you out there who are buying these cars and not getting out there, and time is running out, people. You know what's going to happen. They're going to make it so that you can't do these big road trips. You have to do it in electric, or there won't be petrol available, or there'll be a speed trap every 5 miles, and time's running out. But it's still possible to have a great driving holiday. It really is. You just got to get out there and do it. So I think spend this money, and then have the rest of the money that you've got available for nice hotels and for your fuel bill and better cabin on the ferry down to Bilbao or whatever route you're taking. It's the very occasion of this car, though, that makes it special. And I think that's something that, if you drive one, you'll realise that that's what it's all about. Let's look at some of the rivals to it in this price range. You could get a a nice 997 Porsche, or even an early 991, not 911, which is a great car. And you know, if you're really into sort of the sort of agile handling more, then I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. Slightly less luggage space, but more than my 355 had. So I would say that's a rival. And so if you want to keep the luxury and you like your Mercedes, a 55 AMG Mercedes with a metal roof that goes in the boot, you've got to put it down on that little list, because it can offer different things. You could look at a later model Bentley GTC, you know, the convertible one of these, a later one, and I think that's something is possible, but it hasn't got that proper sports car happy behaviour, which is, I think, is an essential element of your Grand Tour. You know, this is a proper Bentley boys car. It really is. Yeah, you're going to have fantastic memories if you would get one of these and do the European road trip. What else is there? I think you're looking at perhaps an F Type Jaguar coupe. You can't do it in the convertible. There's no boot, but the coupes are possible. Not a special enough interior, though, I would say. As far as a special interior is concerned, there's really no rival at this price point. I think if you can get to sort of £70,000 or £80,000, I think you could be talking about a DBS Aston, which was special inside. But at this price point, you're looking at DB9s, and they're just not special enough, I don't think. I mean, I've had a few DB9s, and the quality is underwhelming, especially after a few years. They start rattling and they become lesser cars, whereas this Bentley, as I said earlier, it feels as new as the day it was produced. The engineering is astounding. I think you've got to get one that's been properly serviced all the way through. It hasn't been neglected, because to get back on top of one of these is going to take some money. But if you get one like this, which it's got full service history, all main dealer, everything's been kept up, it's done 40-odd thousand miles, and I've got to just squirt down this road. Give me a break for a minute, everybody. Gosh. Wants to be free. So yeah, no real rival at this price point. Think about your memories. Think about why you like your cars, and if you like the luxury as well as having a sports car, having a luxury car for your Grand Tour, then I think this has got to be right up there. It really has. Gosh, what a fast car. It's a proper license loser, there's no doubt about that. The other thing that's going to be really useful, you know, I'm thinking back to my 355 Ferrari road trip, is that it hasn't got a ground clearance problem. I mean, I had so many parking garages in Spain that I couldn't get into because the ramp was too steep on the way in. And you'll have the same problem in an Aston, because the nose just sticks out so much. These Bentleys don't have too much front overhang, so they just don't have that problem. And the last thing I think is worth mentioning is that this car is relatively discreet. Now, I know you're saying, what, discreet, a Bentley? But bear in mind that the non-Supersports version of this goes from about £15,000 now. They're really quite cheap. So this is a bit of a Q car. You know, if you drive it through a rough area of a city, you won't feel quite as exposed in this as you would in a 355 Ferrari or perhaps an Aston. It's a little bit more discreet. It's got no chrome, it's all blacked out, And unless you're a connoisseur, you won't see that it's a Supersport. You'll just see a Bentley GT. So I think that the fact that it's quite discreet is definitely a plus point. I want you to imagine though that you had a holiday this last year and perhaps you drove across Spain through Salamanca down to Madrid and down to Costa del Sol, maybe back via Barcelona. It'd be amazing memories. This car would be part of the memory, not just the places you visited and the food you ate and the wine that you drank and the views that you saw. This car itself would be part of that memory. It really would. It's a very special place to do a proper grand tour. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I think this has to be right at the top of your list. Thanks for watching.